Radiant Black, issue number 36 from Image Comics. So this issue doesn't deal with any of the Radiant characters. Instead, it deals with a brand new character who we've never seen before. And her name is Nance. And Nance is a homeless woman in her 70s. Doesn't really look like she's in her 70s, but apparently she's in her 70s. And she is a former drug addict. And we just see her walking around digging through trash. And she's digging through the rubble of the donut store. And that's when she comes across the Radiant Yellow power. So for anyone who doesn't remember, Wendell apparently lost his powers during the Catalyst War, which just begs the question of what the future snips that we saw of Wendell with Ira from Rogue Sun, what that was all about. I guess he's going to get his powers back at some point, or maybe he just caught a glimpse of the future where he is in a post-apocalyptic wasteland with Ira and he has no powers. Anyway, she gets the powers and she is just wondering about, she goes to a bar and that's when she starts realizing that she starts guessing Jeopardy, like the answers. And she's like, oh, this must have been like a rerun. And the guy there is like, no, this is a live tournament. And she starts just knowing all the answers and she's kind of just confused about it. And she even starts being able to think about what the bartender, like his thoughts are. So she's like, oh my God, like I found the Cielo thing in the rubble. Now I'm able to just kind of like see to people's minds and see answers and stuff like that. She starts realizing that she's getting glimpses of the future. And then she gets a glimpse of her own death. And that just kind of like shakes her out of this. And she is wondering like if she's having some kind of, drug trip. But then she realizes, no, like I kicked that stuff a while back. I've been clean for a little while. So what's going on? I got to get rid of this stuff. And she just keeps getting glimpses of her own death, which has got to suck. I mean, if you got the power to see into the future and you just keep seeing your own death, like, damn, that's terrible. But she goes to a therapist and the therapist just kind of brushes her off, just says everything's fine. Could be depression. Like, he kind of writes off everything except for trying to help. I can understand this. Not to knock on therapists. I mean, I've gone through my share of them. Like, I've shared this information before. I don't mind sharing it. I suffer from anxiety issues. Multiple anxiety issues. It can get pretty bad. The main one is panic disorder with agoraphobia. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, if you read comics, Jessica Cruz from Green Lanterns, I have what she has. And I've gone through my fair share of therapists, and a lot of them, some of them, well, I don't want to say a lot of them. Some of them kind of suck. Some of them, it's like, you can tell that this is just a clock in, clock out. They're constantly looking at their watch. They don't really seem to care. But there are ones out there that do. I don't know why I'm bringing this up. I guess just like anyone out there, if you're struggling, don't give up just because you have like a bad situation with the therapist. There are some out there that will be good for you. So keep going. But back to this one's not good for her. So she just starts walking out. She just thinks, I need money. She's thinking of all the ways she can make money. One of them is, I can go rob a bank. But then she sees flashes of herself dying. She's like, nah, I can't do that. I can't be a crook. Another one is winning the lottery. And then she kind of just realizes, nah, that won't be good either. Every future that she glimpses, she just keeps seeing herself dying. And then that's when she comes with an idea, why don't I use these powers to help people? And so that's what she does. She makes money by helping people find lost objects. Because she can see like the future, she can see where objects have gone or like where they're going to turn out. So she goes to those locations and finds them. So she's able to find everything from like missing animals, wedding rings, and just things like that. Again, she just keeps seeing glimpses of her own death. It's always the same. An ambulance, a cross, and her dead body. So she's like, okay, I got to stay away from churches. And she's very religious. Like, she constantly prays to Saint Anthony. And that's when her sister shows up. And her sister's basically just trying to talk to her, ask if she's okay, things like that. I noticed that you're getting a lot of money. You're not doing anything that's going to get you in trouble, are you? And Nance decides to go on one of her little jobs, which is to find this wedding ring to this very rich lady. And she tries to explain to her sister about these powers, but her sister is not really believing it. So she starts showing little hints of the powers. For example, she goes to where there's a bunch of like rubble, and there's a guy guarding the place, and she's able to give him exactly what he wants. Pork buns from this specific restaurant. And Her sister is like, how did you know that was his favorite food? She says, well, at first I was going to give him a pie, but then I saw in the future that he's cutting down on sugar. Then I was going to get him a bagel, but then he says he wants dinner. So then I was going to get him a burger, but then he says he already had that for lunch. So basically by process of elimination, I see if I went to this guy and I gave him this, what would the reaction be? Okay, it's not the reaction that I want. So let's go back. What if I gave him this instead? And she just keeps doing that until she gets the desired reaction that she wants. And she does the same here, where we see just a bunch of trash. And she's just like, okay, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to just envision, what if I went in this location, this location, this location, this location. I'm not finding anything in any of these locations, but what if I went in this location? Oh, I see myself holding the ring. That's where the ring is. That's when she starts getting glimpses into her sister, and she realizes her sister is broke. She realizes that if she told her sister about the reward, her sister will act surprised, but she already knew what the price for returning the ring would be because she already looked it up, and she's going to ask to become sister detectives, and she is in this mess because she applied for one of those catalyst loans. So basically she realizes that her sister didn't want anything to do with her, and that the sister just realized that Nance was making a lot of money, and now she can suck up to her sister and try to get that money, get a portion of it. And of course Nance flips out on her because she's like, when I was at my lowest, you weren't there to help me. You basically ostracized me from the family. You kept me away from your kids. And it can kind of make sense. I like the fact that the sister is not completely evil. I mean, on the one hand, it is kind of a dick move to abandon your family when they're in need. But on the other hand, if your family member is a drug addict and refuses to get help and they're just becoming a problem and a burden, I can understand like trying to distance them away from your own life, like your husband or wife or your spouse, your kids. You don't want them and their issues to drag down your family. So that's kind of like what's going on here. And then we see Nance, and she's just walking, and as she's walking, she sees an ambulance. And then she turns and she sees a cross, and she realizes, oh my God, this is where I die. And I'm going to stop it there because I don't want to spoil everything. I will say that the ending, I'm kind of wondering what's going on with the powers and stuff. But I thought this was a pretty interesting issue. I don't know how it fits into the overall story. It feels like we kind of just took a hold from Marshall and Yeager and that whole situation. And we're just like, here's what's going on with the Radiant Yellow powers now that Wendell no longer has them. It's nice that you introduced this new character, but it doesn't look like it's going to be going anywhere. So what's going on with the powers? What does this have to do with the overall story? I'm not knocking this issue for doing that. I'm asking questions, and I'm assuming that, you know, in the next issue or sometime in the future, we're going to get answers like I am hoping. And I'm going to just assume that this isn't just like a throwaway issue, that all this means something. I'm just bringing it up, but I'm not knocking the issue for doing that. I think it is interesting to like just introduce this 70-year-old woman who finds Radiant Yellow and grants her these powers and how she uses them. And yeah, I actually thought this was pretty good. I enjoyed this issue. So far, it doesn't seem to connect to any of the actual ongoing storylines. I'm hoping that it will at some point. But even with that, I thought this was nice. I liked the just the way it told the story. And I thought it did a really good job for making us sympathize and care for a 70-year-old former drug addict homeless woman that we've never seen before in the series. So, yeah, I thought this was good. I liked it. I'm wondering where if it's gonna lead to anything. I guess we'll see. But that's Radiant Black, issue number 36. It gets a thumbs up for me. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.